Hello everyone, my name is Jerry Mendheim, and this is my Lab560 final. When I was joining this class, I was really skeptical on this whole AI thing because I'm an illustrator, and illustrators naturally just don't like AI very much, mostly because we think it's going to replace us and our well-being, which, that'll do it. So when I joined this class, I was really focused on two main things. Will AI replace me? And is there anything I can do about it? So I was essentially trying to foolproof myself, if you will, for the future of AI. Is there something I can do that AI will not be able to do with my art and etc.? So what do I do? That's where we should go next. I am an illustrator and concept artist, which allows for a unique opportunity because concept artists cover basically the back end of art. It's all about process. It's all about how you get to that end result. And illustration is all about the actual product, what you're giving to a client, something like that. So what I wanted to do was experiment with AI and see how AI tackles the process part of art and how it tackles the illustration part of art. So let's start with concept art. How does AI do with process? And the truth is, it does pretty good. A few ways I experimented with this was, one, I wanted to redesign my main character. So, by the way, I'm using Scenario for this, which is very important to note, because Scenario is the thing that changed my entire opinion on AI. Scenario is a lot like Midjourney, Leonardo, DALL-E, but the thing that makes it unique is that it's far, far more customizable. Scenario allows you to create your own models filled with your own artwork and create styles based off that, which is incredibly interesting for an AI program. So, I made a model based off all my past artwork to create my character and my style. And how did it turn out? And in truth, it turned out pretty good. It kept the integrity of my character while changing a few things, which is exactly what I wanted from a character redesign. It worked really well. So it did really good in that regard. But the next thing I wanted to test out was, how did it work for just like pure ideation? If I want to make a piece, how can I incorporate AI into my workflow? And that worked great too. It was really good for when I prompted, let's say like a stadium filled with like foliage. It would work really well in giving me examples of how that might look in different ways. So it turned out to be very useful for me in a lot of ways I didn't really expect. So in terms of concept art, I'd say AI is really, really good. I really have no complaints. But for illustration, that's when things get more complicated, because a lot of my teachers and a lot of my peers say that AI as a finished product doesn't really make sense, because a finished product is merely an expression of an artist's creative vision. So how can an AI do that? Fortunately, an opportunity to test this actually fell into my lap. While during this class, I was actually commissioned by a client to create artwork for their game. And what happened was, they already had an artist they used, an established style that was very working for them. They all liked it, and they wanted me to replicate it with AI and just do it more cheaper. But the interesting thing about this test was that everyone was under the impression the art I was producing was real art, so to speak, as in I drew it myself, not made by an AI. So really the only people who knew this was AI art were me and the direct client. So this allowed for a very interesting experiment to conduct. Would the AI be good enough to fool his employees? And what happened really shocked me. It was good enough. Everyone thought it was authentic art, and it replicated the style pretty well. So this leads me into my point, now what? Because the things I've tested, AI is capable of doing concept art, AI is capable of doing illustration, so where does this leave us as artists? And that's the thing I've really been struggling with, and that brings us back to the focal point of why we started this. The way my mind changed in this class is that I used to think AI was something that I could avoid. And now I believe AI is simply an inevitability. But I don't think I'm going to be replaced by it. So how does that work? How does that make sense? Well, if we look back in history, the printing press to Photoshop, every innovation in art has always been about making art easier and more accessible. And I think AI is no exception to that rule. AI is a very raw form of art, in my opinion. It's simply about transcribing your ideas through a prompt into a machine. And through that, you get a very interesting process in which art is really just about the concept, less so about the technical quality. So art has become way more accessible, in my opinion. But again, in my opinion, it is still art nonetheless. This is the thing that a lot of artists are getting stuck on and a lot of artists don't want to accept. But the reason I'm talking to you all now is that I want to make it clear that AI isn't going away and it's certainly not getting worse. So I think we all owe it to ourselves to at least try these programs. If not, just for the sake of knowledge, but for yourselves. I'm Jerry Mentheim, and this is my Lab 560 final. Thank you.